background. Let me.
I'm not messing around.
Yeah, and actually, that's a good start. I wanted to start with boxing today. Welcome to Beers and Brawlers, the preeminent boxing podcast in the entire world. We talk about boxing like 2% of the time. Got my cheesy sunglasses on, thanks to Jimmy going Hollywood in the beginning and forcing this nonsense on us. And look what I got for you to support your where the fuck? I literally just put it up. Is that it? Yep. There you
There
go.
we go.
There you go. So let's talk about what we saw with Fury and Whyte.
A big man just bullied him out of there.
Every round. Did you see the fucked up scorecards on this fight?
I didn't even see the scorecard. Tell me.
So Fury won all 5 rounds and then KO'd him in the 6th, and anybody would know that. Now the judges were forced to put on headphones so they couldn't hear the crowd because it was a home. People were going nuts. You could be influenced by that, which I actually don't think is a bad move. I think.
I kind of didn't like that when I just immediately heard it, and I thought about it for 2 seconds. Not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea. You're not going to be influenced by people going, "Oh," when it was a missed punch or it hit the shoulder. Which happened at every Jimmy Lang fight. That's why you won most of your matches. The crowd was supporting you.
Yeah,
that's not true. But
I had the long hair. I used to look like I got hit a lot more than I did.
That's true. The hair would if you got hit right, the hair would jolt.
Shit, if I moved my head to make it miss, the hair would fly.
The sweat would fly off. Yeah. Nobody told you, hey, this whole hair thing that makes you look pretty is also making you lose points. Nobody gave you.
Yeah, they told me that, but I didn't do anything about it.
You just figured you'd Crisco that shit up until.
Yeah.
What did you?
I just have like wads of Vaseline in it and shit. They used to comb my hair during the in between rounds.
That's who would do it?
My father.
Okay, so did he have a special brush?
He had one of those palm brushes that and we got that idea. It's a pretty kind of an entertaining idea with Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson would have a guy do his hair in between rounds, and he would just get the shit beat out of me, be all bloody. His hair would be all crazy. His hair was long like mine. And
yeah, he had beautiful. Sugar Ray Robinson had beautiful hair. He really did.
And he would come out for the next round just fresh as shit. His hair would be combed. He looked great. And he felt that was a good psychological edge over the opponent. And I agree. I did it for much, lesser fights and reasons, but that's who started doing their hair in between rounds.
Funny because there's a psychological angle for everything. I mean, Scully with his posture on the corner, and certainly he's not the only one. You with the hair, you know what I mean? Cleaning up, even the master, the art, the real reason for the cut, man. I mean, obviously you don't want to bleed everywhere, but one of the big reasons you don't want that blood to influence judging. The better the art, cutting that down, the less it looks like you're getting the shit kicked out of you.
Well, that makes me think of Theo. The last conversation we had with Theo.
Yeah.
You got a guy who stands in between rounds. That's the worst thing you could do is stand in rounds. Yeah. Is because when you have to sit, then you're showing him that you've weakened. I read a book on Jim Brown. He used to get up very slowly, no matter what. Every single time he was knocked down, he would get up very slowly as if he was sore or hurt. Because when he was sore or hurt, he didn't want them to know it.
Oh shit! I think Patrick's coming in here. Let's see what we got, buddy. Let's save because we haven't even talked Fury yet. Is that the man, the myth? Straight out of Philly?
Who's this guy?
Dodging carjackings, dodging home invasions.
Look at this guy. What about this guy? What about this guy?
He hasn't been shot yet, so he's clearly a tough motherfucker. He's right
Yeah.
in everything right now.
It's all around me.
Yeah, everywhere.
He's got
All around me.
You hanging on the street corners down in Philly?
Yeah, you know what I was doing? I was going down there and going, "These guys, stick them up. This is a drug bust."
You know what you need, Patrick? You need a badge for your own house. So that way when people come to fake that they're cops coming in, you can flash the badge back and be like, I'm actually a cop. And
I probably shouldn't say this, but I actually have a real police badge that a cop gave to my dad, who's his doctor. And I probably shouldn't have said that either. But
you're so stupid.
That's all right. No, nobody's going to be able to put those pieces together. Plus, this is all hyperbole. This is all.
It's hypothetical.
And frankly, I'm going to show it to you.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I want to say. This is
all hypothetical, and nobody listens anyway.
This is fake. This thing is fake.
I had a fucking fire badge for like a day, and I was rocking that thing on my jeans. I was pulling it out every time I bought beer underage. I was rolling around with that thing like I was literally like I was in the DEA. I was running around with that badge, getting everything I could out of it.
Who was the place down? What was the place downtown we used to get fake IDs?
It was on Wisconsin and O, and it was a place that sold the national ID. Did you have a national ID?
Yeah, yes, and it was like a fucking Kinko's.
I got my ID taken. You like my badge?
Fuck yeah, I do. That's nice. That's nice. I like that. Yeah, I'd like to get one of those.
I got, and I keep that with me just in case.
You know what's nice is when people like us have those badges and use it for good. I just watched the Ted Bundy documentary on Netflix, and he was using the badge in a much more nefarious way than we were. It's tough to giggle and laugh about it, but yeah, for the one woman that's probably listening to this, don't fall for a guy who with handcuffs who says he's a cop. You know, have him show the ID and everything else, because apparently every serial killer uses handcuffs and fake IDs and pretends to be police or whatever. That's
you saw what happened in Philly last week.
Yeah,
they tried to run up in this guy's house, and he thought they were police at first.
Yeah,
and he shot these guys dead. He had a gun in his pocket, and they started zip tying him. And he was just a little Spanish dude. And they started zip tying him, and I seen him interviewed. They weren't showing his face, and he says, "They started zip tying me, and I realized this ain't right. I pulled out my gun and I shot him right in the head. He died right at his house with fake police gear on."
My man, that's our hero of the week. Too bad we don't know his name, but we'll call him Latino in Philadelphia. You are the hero of the week. Good job, buddy.
He was totally cool as a cucumber talking about it. He was like, "I actually thought they were police, and until they started they were just." He's like, "Something told me they weren't," and he's like, "I had my 9 in my pocket," and he's like, "I just took it out and shot him in the head."
But you know what the funny part of the something told me they weren't is I'm not a criminal. I haven't done anything wrong. That's not what told him it wasn't. It was something else. So he was a criminal, and he just happened to be on his A game that day. Because hey, why are the cops here? I'm not committing any crime.
No, I disagree. I don't think so, because he had a license to carry. So I think that tells you right there that he probably wasn't a criminal.
Yeah, but when something told me something isn't right. Somebody comes.
Well, it's a shitty neighborhood. The cops raid the wrong houses all the time.
I got. Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean. It could have been just some police activity. It was right outside his house. They ran up on him, but it's a crowded street house.
So you're saying that as a minority, that this was regular to him, even though it was completely irregular and he's innocent. I mean, that's possible.
I think he's just used to crime, and that's probably why he has a gun in his pocket. And so it was no big deal to have cops running around at first until things didn't seem right.
Yeah, either way, hero, absolute fucking hero.
He really is.
And so we literally just started talking about the Fury Whyte fight. Patrick, what do you think? I mean, obviously, we all know what happened in the fight. Did you see the judges' scorecards, Patrick?
No, what were they? I honestly didn't.
So we were just talking, the judges were forced to wear earmuffs so that they weren't influenced by the crowd, which is probably smart. One of the judges had, because it was a 6-round knockout, one of the judges had Whyte up 3-2 in the 5th. And another judge had Whyte winning the 1st round, because apparently the 1st round there wasn't a lot of activity. So the other judge
there was only 1 round. He could only get 1 round. There was no rounds that were close.
Yeah, exactly. That's why everyone was like, "What the fuck is this?"
He landed some good body shots in 1 round, though. He
They
landed a couple.
They might want to get rid of those earphones.
Could be.
They might want to take their fucking loops off and actually watch the fight.
There is a real benefit to hearing the sound of how much that glove is hitting somebody, getting that pace and understanding.
That's a great point, Eric.
Yeah.
That is a great point. How do they know if punches are landing, how they're landing? I mean, they take the fans out of it, but they're sitting right there. They should be able to hear.
Bullshit. I go the other way.
I disagree.
The fans cause so much unnecessary, hoopla. You see me. I mean, I would get missed by 6 inches, and my hair would fly, and I would go back, and I would dodge the punch, and all of a sudden the crowd, oh.
I'm not saying that they can't be influenced by the crowd, obviously, but they also sitting right there. They should be able to
see.
I don't think you should have on earmuffs. I think that's bullshit.
I agree, unless there's an earmuff out there that because some of these ear pieces of technology now are really sophisticated. Like I've got shooting muffs on now that will amplify the sound of a voice and shut down the sound of a gunshot. So I can hear a voice from like a mile away, like crystal clear. It's unbelievable. But the gunshot,
it's like a shotgun mic. Is that what they call them?
But they know where the tone and tenor are for like crowd noise, for example, versus the snap of a gun.
It blocks out some frequencies.
It blocks out the frequencies. So they'd have to create special earmuffs for judges to block out crowd noise and let them actually hear the sound of the fucking the crack of that glove. Like
I think that they just need to get reasonable judges. That 3, I could give him 1 round, but 3-2 his way, that's fucking crazy.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Nobody gave him more than 1 round.
Thank God there was a KO to avoid any sort of fuckery, but that judge should never judge about. And how do you get to the level where you're judging a championship bout, and either you're on the take or you're that bad?
The only thing you could say is that what they're watching, and you've taken the crowd and everything out of it, and they weren't like crazy exciting rounds, so maybe they could technically throw it to him. But thank God he got knocked. He was knocked out pretty good. That push was meaningless. I mean, that just sent them down faster.
What do you think about his excuse on the push? I mean, obviously we're going to agree.
Well, he did push him, but he was knocked the fuck out.
Yeah. If you weren't knocked the fuck out, you would put your arm out. The push would be irrelevant. You'd actually
he was hurt bad, and he was hurt real bad. If he wasn't hurt, I think he was out.
Yeah, he was
pushing. I mean, pushing is part of boxing.
That happens. That's a natural reaction by Fury, who's a big guy, and the guy's right in front of him. He just drilled him, and he was.
You drill somebody.
He went down. He would have been knocked out worse.
You drill somebody, and you're waiting for that counter punch, and sometimes you give them that shove when you have that size. So if the counter punch does come, the energy's off of it a little bit. It's a natural reaction.
Bernard Hopkins used to get a lot of cheap knockdowns, especially later in his career when he was a little slower, and he'd throw that long right hand and follow it with an elbow or a shoulder.
I know exactly.
And he may land the shot. It may not have knocked you down, but it maybe wobbles you, and that extra little push gets the knockdown. It's a very valuable tool to be able to use.
It's very subtle. He does it pretty subtly, you know, and he gets away with it because he knows how to disguise it. When he comes in, he kind of falls in and makes it look like he's just falling in.
Yeah.
But he really is doing it intentionally to push him off balance.
That's called a master pro doing master pro shit, and he should teach a master class on that master pro shit, because that if you're doing that, you're at that level where you know how valuable that is. And Hopkins, obviously.
I don't know that there's anybody in the last 30 years that's more trickery and stuff that knows better than Hopkins. He knows all the tricks.
Hopkins, you know, Hopkins never did anything on accident. You know, everything he did, any push, any kind of thing that you could say is against the rules, breaking the rules, whatever, that was on purpose, and it was hidden, and he knew how to do it. He knew how to hide it from the ref. And I mean, he was a master. You put him, when it comes to that, when it comes to dirty boxing, Beans,
master class.
You know, he's in the category of a Roberto Duran.
He was a master at getting in a position where the referee couldn't see it and keeping it that way and maneuvering it so when he did it, it was out of view of what the ref was seeing, and there was just no chance to stop it.
The beauty here's where I put Bernard right up there with Floyd Mayweather as some of the smartest fighters in history, because he was able to adjust as his skills diminished, which is very rare. You know, most people know where their skills are.
His skills got better. His skills did not diminish. His speed diminished.
Okay, and that's what I mean. His physical skills, not his boxing skills.
I was going to say, he's one of those fighters where I can't even remember much diminish in him. He retired because he got old, and you know, and he was 50, but he was still beating world champions when he was like 50.
Yeah, I mean, it's savvy as fuck. But that's what I mean. When I talk about the adjustment, obviously your physical skills aren't there. Your speed isn't there. Your strength might not be there. And you're just overcoming it with your brain and your mind and your savvy and your skills at that point.
Takes great care of himself too.
And that's what makes Hopkins, you know, first ballot Hall of Famer and you know, probably underrated, even though he's in most people's top 5 or top 10, certainly in his weight class. Right?
Yeah. Middleweights of all time, definitely. You got to put him up there. You got to give him notice.
I definitely put him in the top 10 middleweights. There's a lot of guys, but he's definitely comes to mind, and he's probably in the top 3 in the last 40 or 50 years.
The Kovalev fight. I mean, he's just had so many beautiful performances. I
think he would have beaten Golovkin at middleweight in his prime.
I do too.
I think he would have just handcuffed him and beat him up.
Absolutely. He would have given Golovkin the blues.
What
it
about
would have just been an ugly fight? He would have not been able to get off anything big.
What about the De La Hoya fight was kind of a big moment in his career.
De La Hoya was much smaller. I mean, I think that's part of it, but it was a huge body shot.
Yeah.
I'll go with Patrick on that. De La Hoya was much smaller.
Smaller or not, De La Hoya is a fucking monster. If you take an Oscar De La Hoya, tough Mexican, down with a body shot, he can't continue. You have done something very impressive. I
don't think there's a lot of guys out there in history that are going to run through Bernard Hopkins.
Nope, not. It's a fight, no matter who it is.
Right.
A lot of people.
I think he would lose that, but I think it would be no walk in the park.
A lot of people thought Antonio Tarver was going to be that guy, you know, at the time.
I don't think they fought, did they?
Yeah. Hopkins and Tarver. Yeah, absolutely. They fought.
Later on, maybe at 175.
I don't remember that fight.
I don't remember it either.
I think you're mistaken, Beans.
You're thinking of Roy Jones and Tarver.
I'll Google it. One of you right now. Grab your phones and Google it.
All right.
I could be mistaken, but I'm 99% sure Hopkins and Tarver fought.
Yeah, they didn't fight.
Let me pull it up because you guys are. Jimmy's not grabbing his Google at all.
They did fight.
Yeah, they did
really?
fight. Go fuck yourself.
I didn't realize Tarver lost.
Boxing expert on the show. I am. God damn it.
Wait, hold on.
He fought
Hopkins
Wright.
whooped his ass.
He fought Winky Wright. He fought Tarver. He fought
Antonio Tarver, Bernard Hopkins.
Yeah.
174. Unanimous decision. Hopkins whooped his ass. 118, 109, 118, 109, 118, 109.
Now he came back. I think he came back and rematched with Roy Jones and beat him, didn't he?
He did.
Yes.
Jones. Yeah.
But that was before this, I think, wasn't it?
Jones beat him in RFK early in their careers.
Never.
Oh yeah. That's right. Roy Jones. Later on, I was thinking.
That was on the undercard of Bo, I think, against Elijah Tillery. Remember the fight where he was kicking him? and
they pulled him into the crowd.
Rock Newman got up on the side of the ring and grabbed Tillery by the neck and yanked him out of the ring.
And Tillery got disqualified for kicking.
All I remember
great. They assaulted him. They pulled him into the stands.
That was very, very early in Roy Jones's career. I think that was like 6 fights in or less. And when Hopkins and Jones fought, and then they refought again when they were basically like
6 fights. No.
Did you go to that fight at RFK, Jimmy?
2 fights.
No.
It's 6 fights or less. It was less, wasn't it? Like 2 fights.
Check that. Check and see when they fought, because I know they both had more than 6 fights.
Oh, they had more than 6 fights. Okay. Listen, you know that shit better than I do. I'm not putting my reputation on that. I'm going
to find out right now.
I just burned up all my boxing collateral on the Tarver thing.
That was good though. That was a good pull because I didn't remember it.
Thank you.
That was it. Must have been a hell of a fight.
No, it really wasn't. But I remember that was back when HBO was a big deal with boxing, and it's not anymore. But that's when HBO had all these fucking fights that I would just be so jazzed up to see, and Bernard was one of the big draws. You know, anytime the Executioner on, you had to watch.
What are we listening to there, Deans?
Well, Dina Washington. So Dina Washington was a big artist way back in the day that Quincy Jones got his start with. So Quincy basically jumped on and did an album for Dina, and co-produced it. She put him as the orchestra, and that's things that started his career. But the real thing that launched Quincy's career was when he worked with oh my God, why can't I fucking the King from New York, Fly Me to the Moon, Sinatra. So when he actually jumped into Sinatra's career went off, and Quincy's career took off after that. And then of course Jones did Thriller.
I can't hear the song. What is this song?
It's an old ass song, dude.
Ask somebody.
Yeah, this is Brooke Benton, I think.
It's Dina Washington and Brooke Benton, correct?
Yep.
Jimmy, look at
Look
you.
at that. That's a great song.
Dude,
Well, you said Dina Washington, but I couldn't hear it. I was going to ask about that song. It's a good one.
Dude, I'm impressed as fuck that you got that.
Did you go to that fight, Jimmy, though, in RFK?
No.
He was 21-0, and Hopkins was 22-1.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it was way later in the career. You want to see a resume? I was just flipping through Hopkins' box rec. Hopkins' resume is insane. He fought.
It's like 50 champions in a row.
Lost his first fight.
Wait, what? He fought 50 champions in a row?
All right, I'm going to read you. Look, listen. This is the names that when he starts getting deep. So he fought that Segundo Moncada. He got a split decision. Then he fought him again and whooped his ass. Lipsy.
Do you guys? Is my memory right that he fought Cloud? Do you remember a fight with Cloud?
Yeah, later on.
Okay.
John David Jackson, Glenn Johnson, Andrew Council, Simon Brown, Robert Allen, Antoine Eccles, Keith Holmes, Felix Trinidad, Carl Daniels, William Joppy, Robert Allen, De La Hoya, Eastman, Jermaine Taylor, Tarver, Winky Wright, Joe Calzaghe, Kelly Pavlik, Roy
Jeez.
Jones, Pascal, Chad Dawson, Tavares Cloud, Bebu Chumanov, Kovalev, Joe Smith.
It sounds like Dante's Inferno of boxers that you've got to go through to get
That's
to the.
seriously an insane list of names.
That's an insane list of names. And what? And how did he? Who did he lose to out of that list?
He lost to Jermaine Taylor, I think, twice. I got to go back and look. Let me see. He lost to Kovalev and Joe Smith at the very end of his career.
What did he do with Winky Wright? What about Winky Wright? Did he win that fight?
Let's see.
I believe
he won a unanimous decision. A pretty close fight though. 116-112.
He destroyed my favorite boxer, Felix Trinidad, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my God, that was one of my favorites.
Crushed him.
I loved it, but he destroyed him. Like, I mean,
after 9/11, and
it was just from 9/11, and my favorite boxer just got crushed by Bernard Hopkins badly. I thought Trinidad was almost a perfect fighter, and then Hopkins just made him look absolutely horrible that night. It happens, man. You start to think, but I was affected by that. I was like, holy shit. If Trinidad can lose, anybody can lose.
And Trinidad was never the same after that fight.
Oh no,
that was a beatdown, surgical.
It was. So we have the fight this weekend, which I cannot fucking wait for. Let's break it down, fellas. What do you guys think of the Stevenson fight?
I think it's going to look like
Jimmy
Mayweather versus Gatti. I think it's going to be a war, but it's going to be a beatdown on this other guy. I think Stevenson is too much, and this guy is just there to be nailed.
Huh? Yeah, the toughness might be not. It might be.
Valdez is the toughest Mexican you can imagine, and Valdez is a monster puncher. The whole thing is that Stevenson's just an infinitely better boxer. At least that's.
So what I'm saying is his toughness might not be good for him. You know, he may take too many shots.
I think that's going to be the case in this fight. I just think
because I don't think he's going anywhere.
Well, Stevenson's a notorious defensive fighter, and Valdez is a notorious offensive fighter. So the question is can Valdez Pacquiao, like it's basically a lot like Pacquiao Mayweather. The questions going into it is this ultra aggressive Mexican going to be able to stalk Shakur Stevenson and hunt him down and just drop him? Or do you have this fast, incredible boxer that's going to defensively be able to stay out of range and win every round? And right now
it's going to look like a guy who is trying really hard, but cannot break through against a guy who's clearly more talented and stronger. And I think Stevenson is going to knock him out.
Patrick, you just fucking said it's going to be Gotti Ward, and that's nothing like
I said Gotti Mayweather.
Oh, Gotti Mayweather. Okay.
Very different thing.
He's just going to pick him apart. I think he's just there to get nailed.
That's actually a pretty good prediction. Gotti Mayweather is probably a very good description of, at least on paper, where this could go. Tough.
I hope it's a fucking war, but I just don't see it happening. I don't see it. This guy beating Stevenson.
Although Gotti, as tough as he was, really wasn't the knockout artist that Valdez is. Valdez is a brutal knockout artist. I mean, he's got some KOs on him that he puts people to sleep. He's very aggressive, very tough, just like Ward or Gotti, but he's not as talented as Stevenson. So it's really going to be, is the superior boxer going to be able to stay at range, control the fight, stay out of trouble? Or is Shakur going to get into a bit of a brawl? I'm starting to see.
I think he's going to stand in there and beat his ass.
I think Shakur is a lot tougher than people give him credit. They were calling him a boring boxer. I think he's a bad motherfucker. I think he can go toe to toe if he wants, or stay out of range if he wants. I think in that ring, he can pretty much do anything he wants. He might be one of the top 3 boxers, pound for pound, in the world today, but he's not
right there. He's at that point. He could break through to that.
He could break through to that. It's going to be fun to watch. And the beautiful thing about this is we don't have to pay to watch it. Well, I mean, it's on DAZN, but we already have that subscription, so that's pretty fucking awesome.
I'm going to my buddy's fighting on Friday night. I'm going to the fights.
Who?
Christian Cardo down in South Philly.
Oh, well, bring us up to speed. Hype him up.
Yeah. What's his weight? How experienced?
Let me get. Oh, I'll tell you. Hold on. I want to pull him up.
Eric, is he gone? Where do you put Fury when on an all-time great list?
You know,
is he even on there?
Fuck yeah, he's on there, and I'm starting to move him up into a dramatic range. So everybody gets upset. They think about the greats, and they should. You know, you've got your Riddick, your Larry Holmes, your Muhammad Ali's. You've got your, you have a lot of people.
Joe Louis.
Your Joe Lewis's, your Rocky Marciano's, for people that don't, really know where he would be, in history if they watched boxing. Tough motherfucker, but Rocky Marciano really doesn't belong, as highly ranked as he is. Larry Holmes, if I haven't said it. So you've got these incredible Lennox Lewis's, you've got this incredible potpourri of heavyweights, and you start to go, all right, where would they be if they fought? And you'd have to say that Fury would be the favorite against every single one of those guys, just based on size, reach. There aren't heavyweights at 270, 275 that can fight like middleweights that actually have the boxing skills and quickness and savvy. He's a fighter. He's smart. He's fucking great defensively, fantastic defensively. And now somebody's taught him how to punch with power. You've got to start moving him into that conversation as a possible top heavyweight in history, which makes it very uncomfortable to boxing historians. But if you actually put your favorite fighter against a 280-pound monster with that savvy, reach, and toughness, how would they fare? I mean, really, you'd have Lennox Lewis, Bo, and who else that would even have?
You'd have the Klitschko's that really weren't that great, but they
aren't on that list. They aren't on the top 10 list. I'm talking about your best of all.
You got to put one of the Klitschko's on there. He fucking dominated everything.
Not really. I mean, he's not a top 10 heavyweight of all time. I'm talking about your top 5, top 10 heavyweights of all time.
You can't really compare a lot of the older ones because they were just so much lighter.
You just can't. It's
a different. It's a different era.
Like what's his face was 185 pounds. Rocky Marciano was like 190 pounds.
That's what I'm saying.
So was Joe Louis.
Even Ali was 210 to 212. I mean, you can't even. It's a different fight. It's a different weight class. It's actually like 5 weight classes different.
The heavyweights have become a different sport. The heavyweights rely a lot more on just size and power. The skill level.
Not so much. It's just Fury. He's one of those freaks. So
I will say this.
Joshua, the other guy, Deontay Wilder, those guys are enormous. Hey,
50.
I'm going to tell you.
Lennox Lewis was 250. These guys are 250. There's nothing unusual about a 250. It's unusual to have a 280 that can fight like that. We have the heavyweights. That's not normal. The 250s have been around for a long time. Tyson was 220. You had Muhammad Ali at 212. That's not that big of a difference. A lot of 250s have made it there. Larry Holmes back in the 70s was 250, 245, 255.
Was he?
Yeah. We haven't seen a 280. Yeah, he's like 6'2 and a half, 245. We haven't seen a 280 like this that's 6'9. This is a freak of nature. This is a Godzilla. This is not where the heavyweight division is gone. And if you look at all of those sports, you go, well, look at where the sport's going. It's a bunch of jack dudes that look like they're doing roids or PEDs. This is a fat, out of shape looking motherfucker that's just whipping everybody's ass at 6'9", 270. It's not like he's like, genetics and training have taken him to this great level. No, this guy's just a fucking superior fighter. You know, it's a weird thing, but I love it. I love the fact that a out of shape looking, you know, fucking pear looking motherfuckers out there just crushing everybody verbally and physically.
He's got muscle under all that fat, though.
That appeals
muscle.
to me. Just tough, just caveman DNA,
just tough,
tough motherfucker. And what do you guys think about the bullshit where he's saying he's going to retire? I mean, I hate to say bullshit because it was completely, you know, hard.
He's always bullshit.
He's going to make a big deal when he unretires and get a lot of publicity.
It's all bullshit. That's it. You see this every time a big name retires.
You know,
in the boxing game.
The cool thing,
I think Muhammad Ali would beat his ass. Muhammad Ali in his prime.
I don't think he'd stand a fucking chance, to be honest. I really don't. I think it would be of course, Ali was always an underdog and always came out and proved people wrong.
Go watch Ali again and tell me that, please.
I've been watching.
You say that I refuse to give an opinion. I'm going to give you. Now I want you to help me, Eric.
Fire away. Yeah.
Okay, because I'm gonna compromise a little bit.
Go for it.
I do not put Tyson Fury in, definitely not the top 5, but I think that it's a coin flip that he could probably beat any heavyweight in history.
How do you think
that? I like that.
How do you think he'd fare against 212-pound Ali, realistically?
Realistically, I think he beats him. I mean, what can Ali do?
It's just it's a physical thing. It's not.
I mean, when you get up, when you're talking 70 pounds, you're talking height. It's almost unwinnable against a better fighter. And Ali is a better fighter. You can't say that Ali's not a better fighter.
Ali's the better fighter. You take Ali, you add 60 pounds to him and keep him with Ali. It's not even close. Like Ali wins that fight, but he's
still champion if you do that with Ali.
I think you have to compare these heavyweights in terms of who they competed against and in their era. It's just too hard to compare them against like head to head because, like you said, Jimmy, I mean, he's 6'10". He's gonna fucking smash Joe Frazier.
Well,
Joe Frazier wouldn't be able to reach him.
This heavyweight class is a pretty fucking solid class. And I think in the history will show whether Fury retires now or he doesn't, that the up and comers, what's happening in the heavyweight division is pretty awesome right now. There's a lot of fucking talent coming down the pipe and there's a lot of talent that's going to fight each other. Like, I mean, coming up with Usyk and Joshua, and then you've got, you know, Whyte and Wilder sitting on the sideline. Whyte not so much, but Wilder definitely deserves a lot of respect. He put Fury down twice.
Okay,
I respect Wilder.
I believe that Deontay Wilder would knock out a ton of past heavyweight champions.
Yeah, me too. I mean,
he hits like a freight train.
He's not a great quote unquote boxer, but that fucking right, he just lands it right and you go 9-9.
Yeah.
You know?
He would beat better fighter. I mean, there's a lot of fighters that he would beat that would be better than him. So why? That's kind of how I feel about Fury. Just too damn big. If you shrunk Fury down
I'm with you.
Evander Holyfield's size, Holyfield would maul him.
I don't know that he would, because
he would eat his fucking lunch.
Fury would hang in there with Holyfield. That would be a fun fight to watch. I would actually give the edge to Fury. I've watched a lot of Holyfield recently, and Holyfield was very aggressive. But I think Fury's very sad. I think Fury is, I'm going to say this, 1 point above Holyfield as far as IQ and savvy, and that's saying a lot.
But you're missing the fact the way he's able to use that IQ is through his size. Right. If you shrunk him down to Evander Holyfield's size, couldn't use all that like he does.
You know who I think would have given Fury a good fight is Layman Brewster, because he had a good chin and he could fight, and he was pretty big too. Don't you think so, Jimmy?
Yeah,
He knocked
beat
out
one of the
Klitschko.
I think he beat one of the Klitschko's, and
He
yeah,
had
I
some
mean, I
great
don't. You
fights. He was no
you
joke.
can't put him on any list. You don't put him on any list, but he was definitely a tough ass fighter.
Yeah, we've got. I mean, we
But I mean,
basically.
how are you gonna say Tyson Fury's greater than Joe Louis?
I'm
He
not.
would beat Joe Louis, but he's not a greater heavyweight than Joe Louis.
Well, you say that because Joe Louis got a lot of hype because of the Max Schmeling fight. He was the entire weight of the world, the hype of the entire country relied on Joe Louis, and Joe Louis came through during World War II. So Joe Louis, yes, he's a great fighter, but Joe Louis got propelled to deity as a result of that fight. Tyson Fury, we've watched deity happen, and he continues to deliver in a way that when you look at ring entrances, performances, licking blood, doing karaoke, singing in the ring, outside of the ring, everything that you've seen is historic and legendary. It's all different. It's all amazing. And now he's going to fight Francis Ngannou with
But you're talking about
blood.
the show. You're talking about the show.
I'm talking about everything. Like because when I talked about Joe Louis and Schmeling, it was the Rumble in the Jungle. All these things have atmospheres. They're shows, and that's why.
Let me ask you a question.
Legendary. They become legendary because of the stuff outside of the ring, and then what happens in the ring creates that legend. It puts the punctuation on the painting. You know what I mean?
You agree with me that Tyson Fury would beat Muhammad Ali?
Yeah, without question. I think it would. It's a guy that's 5 weight classes heavier or more.
Okay, so
It's
is Tyson Fury greater than Muhammad Ali?
I mean, no. When you say greater, what do you mean greater? Like,
that's my point.
You mean who would fight head to head better in a boxing ring?
Is he a better heavyweight champion?
Yeah, but better heavyweight champion is you're now turning a
make your top 2 list. Make your top 2 list.
Not making it subjective. So
who's number 1 on your list?
Objectively, Tyson Fury is my number 1 because he would wipe the floor with the top 10, in my opinion. He's my number 1 heavyweight champion of all time. And people will be pissed off. They'll say it's recency effect. Who did he fight? And I understand that.
I think he needs to win at least one more fight to say that. At least to say that. He's got to beat the other heavyweight champion.
He's got to beat Ngannou, and then he's got to beat the winner of Joshua Usyk to submit.
He's going to absolutely smoke that UFC guy in a boxing match.
Of course. Although, again, it's just like anything else. You've got a guy, they're going in with not real match. They're going in with.
You're right. He still has a puncher's chance to land something.
If you get hit by Ngannou, you're going 9-8. Like, I mean, he's the strongest puncher in the world. So
what if he snaps and just brings him to the ground and chokes him out?
Yeah, right. Actually, that's I've seen some great clips of boxers doing that. It's pretty funny where they come out in a boxing match, they get popped, and they're used to being a grappler, and they just tackle the boxer and take him down. The guy's like, "What the fuck, ref?" The person forgets where they are because they just got blasted in the face. You know, they resorted to what they knew. You know, UFC is MMA is a very different sport than boxing. So yeah, Ngannou's odds are like minus 850. He's pretty much assured to get wiped off the map, but he always has that one shot. You know, the crowd's going to tune in for the chance of that one shot landing.
That's a fight where you might decide to throw a little bit of money on him because maybe you win some big money if something happens.
I was going to say, I'll probably put $100 on that one shot, even though I know that the odds of it happening are very, very low.
I think they'll work it out beforehand and make sure the right outcome happens.
But the question is, does he come back for that Usyk Joshua? Because
it's going to be a shitload of money.
More than money, he has a shitload of money. I think he'll come back for the chance to be the first heavyweight champion to have a unified belt ever in the modern era. You know, that's never happened in the modern era. He's going to come back for that shot to solidify himself in the Mount Rushmore. You can put him on the Mount Rushmore wherever you want. Once he's solidified, I might be getting ahead of myself, putting him in, number one. He needs to bring that crown together and be the first to do that before he belongs there. And he might realize that that's his chance. You beat Usyk or Joshua, hopefully an Usyk, because Usyk crushed Joshua in that first
Usyk is going to beat the shit out of Joshua again, I think. He just doesn't. I think that Joshua is too robotic.
Right. I don't think. And Joshua's not a dog either. He
doesn't have that killer instinct.
He's not going to make the necessary adjustments that are going to let him even catch Usyk.
What? Fury will though. Fury will do what Fury will box his brains in probably.
He's too big. He's too big.
What Joshua should do should back him up, jab, back him up. Don't let him get back. You backing up.
That's the challenge for all these fighters. At some point, you got a guy like Usyk who's a world-class boxer. The boxing skills don't get much better at any weight class. And then all of a sudden you're up against a guy who's a world-class boxer, but not as good as you. But he just happens to weigh 50 pounds more.
So what does it say if Usyk ends up beating Fury? Where does that make Fury stand amongst the great heavyweights if he just lost to a guy who was pretty average size heavyweight?
If that happened, it'd be David and Goliath. It would be an amazing story, and that there would be a trilogy coming, or at least a double. You'd have to. But
that would be great for boxing.
Yeah,
if there was like a heavyweight trilogy between two guys, just one, each of them lost one. That would be perfect for boxing.
I mean, it's literally David versus Goliath, and especially now with the whole Ukraine, storyline to this whole thing. I mean, it'd be captivating. I mean, even people that don't give a fuck about boxing, but now have been tricked into thinking Ukraine's amazing, are going to absolutely be excited about that. That Ukraine is our greatest ally. That's one of the greatest democracies in the world. And I'm not disparaging Ukraine. I'm just saying that's the narrative. They're going to come on board and watch boxing, and we're going to have more eyes on boxing than ever before.
It would be a humongous fucking fight, no doubt about it.
It'd be a fight that brings out like mothers, grandmothers, kids, everybody.
Cats, dogs, foxes,
little apes, little monkeys, little lemurs would come out.
Where's the fox, Jimmy? Where's the fox?
So we are actually, geez, this is like our first boxing show in a long time. It's pretty fucking awesome.
I actually got to get off in a second. I'm getting multiple fucking calls from all kinds of people.
It's perfect timing because Jimmy and I will probably have to get into some complete nonsense. However, like shit will get you fired. We try to protect you around here. It's not, it's my fault. Here's the problem. We haven't had great fights to talk about. So then I have to talk about all the shit that, it's not boxing related. So there have been a bunch of fights. 5 world title fights have been added with Matchroom and on 2 DAZN cards in June. So we've got a whole bunch of great fights coming up in June. I don't know, Patrick, I don't know if you
real quick, Jimmy, I have a question for you. Sorry to cut you off, Eric. Where's Buddy's place now? Is it in California or is it in Florida?
No, I think Buddy's working in New York.
In New York?
No, Jersey City, maybe. Jersey City.
Are you serious? He's in Jersey?
Yeah, it's right across the bridge. But that's the last time I heard him. I talked to him about a year ago. I don't really keep up with him. I don't know if he's in Florida or Jersey, but
yeah, I was just curious.
I mean, he lives in Florida, but he started a gym in Jersey.
What we got to make that road trip to that Roberto Duran thing, that event in July.
It's fucking California. It's not New York.
It's 100% in New York.
It says right there, Marina Del Rey.
No, it doesn't. It's in the Bronx. It's with ask what's his face? Your Iceman. He's the one who's
I'll figure it out. I'll go to that.
I want to go up there.
Yeah.
You want to explain what's going on?
Roberto
There's
Duran, Larry Holmes, and a bunch of guys are going to be at a dinner, and you can go and just meet them and talk to them.
Take pictures and shit.
What are you gonna say to Roberto Duran if you meet him, Jim?
Fuck it. The only thing I care about Roberto, I want Sonny to meet Roberto Duran.
That's the only reason I want to go is I want to meet Roberto Duran. You never know what, God forbid something happened to me or him, or I want to meet him. Period.
I don't really have a desire to meet. I met him, but I don't really have a desire to meet him or
fight him.
But
you want to fight him, Jimmy?
You
I would like my son.
Both suck as fans of Roberto Duran. The real way to get to Roberto Duran's heart is to understand Roberto Duran music. I listen to this shit all the fucking time. I would just rock out and be like, Roberto! It's happy as shit, and he comes in blasting. He's got bars. Tell him you got bars. You got Latin bars. Comes in with his high voice. Ask him when his next album's coming out. That's what I want to know. Don't give up on your music, Roberto. You have one mega fan. I listen to this shit all the time. I do. My wife's like, Roberto Duran again. I'm like, hell yeah. He's better
than Joe Frazier was.
He's got 504 monthly listeners, and I'm one of them.
Right about that.
All right, hey Patrick, do you want to give a shout out to your boy who's fighting?
Christian Cardo. He's 18-1.
That's
believe
great.
He's 18-1. Let me just double check that. Yeah, 18-1. I don't know who he's fighting. It's they haven't announced it. So it's more of a stay busy fight, but those are dangerous. So I'm excited. It's a good venue. It's a real good venue down there.
How many rounds? What weight class? What do you know about him? Does he?
It's going to be an 8-round. It's going to be an 8-round fight. I think Christian is a bantamweight. He's a small guy, 5'5". I'll send you some video on him if you like.
Fuck yeah, I'd like to.
He trains with Duran Ennis. Those are his trainers. So Duran Ennis and Bozy Ennis and all those guys. He's in that camp.
May 26th, Duran Ennis coming up. I can't fucking wait to watch him. And everybody,
that dude is scary good.
Dude, I've seen what's at 147. I mean, he's got one person to get through but nobody.
Did we talk about Spence?
No, but
Spence looked like a savage. Spence looked awesome.
We did a little bit, Jimmy, in the last one. We talked about, both of us were surprised how good he looked. Yeah. Me, because of how he fell out of his Ferrari. I was curious as whether he'd be back.
That's an understatement. He felt falling out of the Ferrari. I think he got
gently rolled
ejected.
I think he gently got ejected out of the. I can't believe he didn't get more fucked up from that. I think
that is a fucking scary accident to watch on video. That car flips like 10 times.
Dude, it's one of the most ferocious. The fact that he's still alive is amazing, and the fact that he's come back is amazing. The fact that he barely got hurt from that. Right. I mean, God loves that kid.
Yeah, he's blessed. He's very blessed to be alive from that. He knows that, I think.
Get going. We love you, Patrick. Thanks for joining, man.
All right, you guys get on with the real stuff now.
Well, yeah.
Thank you, brother.
I'll talk to you later, guys.
All right, bye. The real stuff. Show number 2. Nonsense. Now, it's good to hear from Patrick. What do you feel like listening to, man? What are you in the mood to